Hello everyone, educator here, and welcome back to my newcomer's guide to Dark Souls Remastered. This is part 28. So in the last episode, we ended up wrapping out the second to last boss of the DLC, Manus, and we're actually about to head towards Kalameet, the last boss of the DLC and the second to last boss of the actual game. So this will be probably the second to last episode, and we'll focus almost entirely on Kalameet and kind of prep work for Kalameet as well. With that said, we want to go ahead and use our humanity. I'll say that Kalameet is one of the harder bosses of this game. Some people think that he's the hardest boss. I actually think that Manus is harder personally, because he tends to be more unpredictable as far as his attacks are concerned, but that's something that the community itself has argued over for years. So that being said, though, we're going to end up using up all our humanity to kindle bonfires because A, it's going to be what we want to do anyway, and B, you may decide, you know, in the middle of trying to fight this boss a bunch of times that you just want to finish the game, which I would totally understand. The final boss, Gwyn, is actually a lot easier compared to the bosses that we've been facing recently, so I would totally understand if you wanted to go directly for the boss after giving this a couple of tries. And I would absolutely give it at least a couple of tries, but I think what we're going to talk about and what I'm going to recommend in this episode will help you, and you should be able to beat him, I would say, definitely with 20 Estus Flasks at this phase. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and warp to a few other bonfires to spend the rest of my humanity. That way I don't lose any in the event that I happen to die on this boss battle. I'll say, whenever I initially fought this boss, I died about 40 times. Again, I wasn't very good back then at analyzing opponents like I am today. So, I'll say, whenever I was prepping again for this walkthrough, I did die, I think, about 3 times, I guess. So, and I'll say that I died 3 times because I was trying to get the stupid tail weapon. So if you want to skip out on the tail weapon, which isn't great, but it's pretty good, I would say, then by all means. I'm going to go ahead and switch over to the Dark Moon Tomb. We'll go and kindle that bonfire too. And again, kindling bonfires is good at this point because any bonfires that are kindled right now will be kindled if you progress to New Game Plus, with the exception of the ones that you killed the Firekeeper at. And we're going to warp to, I guess we'll do the Abyss. Kind of a strange bonfire to kindle, but hey, why not? And we're going to go ahead and warp back to the Ulasil Township. And I am going to go ahead and get an item. I'm going to grab the Chloranthy Ring. Not something you necessarily need, but it will make the boss battle a little bit easier for the strategy that we're going to be going for. Other than that, we're basically just going to use our standard gear, though I am going to recommend the Eagle Shield. We'll talk more about that when we actually get down to the boss fights. Alright, and I guess I don't need my bow for this. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and head out. We're actually going to head to Kalameet first. And we have to trigger an animation of Kalameet's. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go meet Goff. Goff is an NPC who will shoot Kalameet out of the sky and actually make him beatable. While you can cheese this boss with arrows if you want to, unless you do the stuff with Kalameet, I'm sorry, with Goff, you actually won't get any souls for killing the boss. So this is the proper way to do it. Down here, we're going to make a left. There's a soul item back here. As well as dogs. The nice thing about this boss, though, is that the only thing that is between you and the boss at a save point, or a bonfire, I should say, is dogs. So it's a pretty straight shot directly to the boss battle, unlike some of the other fights that we've had. And right now there's no boss fog over this, but there will be once we come back. So you need to come over here and wait for the boss to basically come from the left to the right. And then we are going to head back to Goff. So if this is not your, if you have not watched the previous episode, by the way, you must have the crest key in order to gain access to the door that Goff is behind. So go back to the previous episode if you need to find that key, but it is in the Ulasil Township area. In kind of, I guess, the middle section. So we're going to head up these stairs. When we get upstairs, there's an item behind us, so we're going to go ahead and take a trek over for the other soul item. And then we're going to go talk to Goff. Do you hear him carving away? He's actually the one who's been carving all these stones that you found. So go ahead and talk to him. He does have some items for purchase, including some of his carvings. He also has some dung pie, homeward bones, prism stones, nothing too important there. He does, however, have titanite shards and large titanite shards, so if you're looking to get a lot of those, you can buy those, which is actually something I'm going to do. I'm going to spend all my money on that, just in case I die against Kalameet. And then you can go ahead and talk to him. He'll tell you a little bit about who he is. And then kind of step away from the conversation and then talk to him again. And he's going to ask, is the Black Dragon posing the duress? Yes, in fact he is. So he's going to ask, are you going to persevere and kick his butt? We're going to say yes. Yes, we are. Dash of recklessness. He's going to shoot Kalameet out of the sky for us and actually make him defeatable. Anyway. So go ahead and do that, and then we're going to go ahead and head back to the fight with Kalameet. So, the way that this fight's going to work is... this boss is basically a black dragon, as you saw before. He has quite a few attacks. He also does quite a bit of damage. However, we want to have a shield with high stability. So if we look at the shield that we have right now, I am picking the Eagle Shield because it has stability, and that will ensure that we'll be able to get hit without having our shield knocked away. That's super, super important for this fight, especially for his physical attacks. Now you'll notice that this only does protection against fire damage 45%. And ironically, this dragon's fire is actually not fire. It's a combination of magical and physical damage, I believe. So you actually won't really get much benefit out of most of your shields for stopping that. It's best to avoid the fire attacks. If you, I will say, if you have a better shield, you can certainly use it. But this is one of the lighter shields, especially for having 70 stability. So you could go for this, but it's obviously much, much heavier. It also requires more strength than we currently have. There's also the Black Iron Great Shield, which is another good shield that you can use for this, but it requires even more, 34. You could also use Havel's Shield for this as well, and that would be probably the most effective shield against the fire. However, it also requires 50 strength to be able to wield. So I'm going to recommend this because it's lightweight, and we want to be lightweight in this fight. Anyway, he has several different methods of doing fire. He'll basically stand on his hind legs and breathe fire basically straight down, kind of in a side-to-side pattern. He'll also end up being on all fours, and he will shoot fire straight in front of him. You want to dodge left or right for that. It has a lot of range. He also has another one where he will fly into the air and toast the floor. You want to get behind him if you can, and that should avoid you getting hit by it. Hold your shield whenever you're doing that. He also has kind of a wave that he will do left to right of fire as well, and that has some range, but not quite as much range as the straight-on attack. So that's going to be kind of his fire attacks. He also has a tail, and his tail is really only cut. He can only really have his tail cut off, really, with 2 animations. If you're using a melee weapon like us, anyway. The first animation is when he stands on his hind legs and breathes fire, but he finishes that attack so quickly, and he doesn't really have any tells for when he starts the attack, so it's a lot harder to get behind him for that attack. However, there's an attack where he will basically kind of fly through the air, but very, very low to the ground. And if you avoid the attack and then you are behind him underneath his tail whenever he finishes, he will slam his tail down against the ground. And he actually slams the tail into the same position every time. So you'll actually want to be slightly to the right of the center of the tail. And if you do, he'll slam the tail down, it'll stay there for a couple of seconds, and you'll have your opportunity to get in a few hits. Beyond that, he has this attack that he will use where he'll kind of pull back his head and then do kind of like a hook shape. You want to make sure that you are blocking that. That's going to do a lot of damage, and he also sometimes follows it up with a second attack. Again, you can keep holding block, and you can deal with both hits with the amount of stamina that we have at this point. He'll also do a kind of a lunging attack where he'll hit you as well. If you want to block that, and if you're blocking that, it'll actually cause you to flip. However, because we have high stability, you're going to land on your feet and be able to immediately continue. So you won't end up getting knocked down like you otherwise would, and you won't take the brunt of the damage either. He also has this telekinesis attack where he will lift you into the air. He can only get you if you're basically right in his line of sight, though, so try to stay to the left or right of him whenever he starts to do that attack. He also sometimes jumps up in the air, kind of jumps back down. Whenever he hits back down on the ground, he will kind of take his back leg, one of his back legs, the one that you're usually on the side of, and he'll slam it on the ground too. So you want to avoid that second slam as well. Oftentimes you'll be able to deal with the first attack by holding your shield out. If you're underneath him whenever he does the second attack, though, both of the attacks in succession you probably can't fully block. Anyway, that's basically going to be it. It's also worth mentioning, I do not recommend a lightning weapon or lightning pine resin, the gold pine resin, because he's actually strong against it. You'll actually do less damage with it in this case, so especially with a lightning spear, for example. And I don't think the charcoal pine resin does enough damage to the boss extra to really justify using it. But worth mentioning. So we're going to go ahead and walk into the boss door. There's also a crystal lizard that I'm going to try to get. You'll have to basically drop off the waterfall here. So I'm going to drop off. Here he is. I'm going to try to jump attack him. And I did not get him. So if you can get him, get him. If not, you can kill him later. Several items in the arena. I recommend just worrying about them later. And try to lock onto him as fast as you can. That way you can more effectively dodge his attacks. That's the attack that'll typically make you flip. That's the straight-on shot. Dodge left or right. That's the left to right one. You can back off on that one. And I did not back up like I should have. That's the attack that if you can get under his tail, he will swat the ground with his tail. So attack the tail. A few swings and you should be able to knock his tail off. Block that if you can. There's the 2 hits that he sometimes does in succession. Oh, he did not drop his tail that time. That attack, by the way, can be super dangerous. Yeah, we can back off that one. There's the flip attack. Again, block that if you can. This is the other attack that you can sometimes get him with in the tail. However, he's too fast with it for me. Hey, oh crap. Ah. And if we were actually behind him, we would have been able to get this tail, I think. That's the telekinesis attack. And did not get the chance to get that. Hey, there goes. There is his tail. Cool. So now we can actually focus on killing him. That was a little closer than I was expecting. And he's dead. And for your troubles, you get the Calamity Ring. Let's go take a look at what this is. Receive double damage. See, the developers are even trying to tell you you're a masochist. That being said, though, that is the Kalameet boss fight. So there's a few items back here. We're gonna go ahead and grab this chest. This actually has a Titanite slab in it. So this is our third guaranteed Titanite slab. We have some soul items over here. There's also Goff's arrows back that way. We'll go ahead and grab those too. For me, I think Manus is the most difficult fight, because all of his attacks are just so unpredictable. But this fight's great. One of my favorite fights of the game, along with Artorias. So we're going to head back, talk a little bit about what we're going to do in the next episode as well. So in the next episode, which should be the last episode, we're basically going to go around and kill all of the NPCs. I'm also going to show y'all farming locations, which you can do ahead of going to the final boss. The area leading to the final boss is pretty short. We're also going to get the help of Solaire with the final boss. This boss is a cakewalk compared to the last few bosses, so we should be able to finish up this game and the walkthrough in one more episode. So look forward to that. Alrighty, so I think that's going to do it. Everybody, thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, comment, and I'll see you in the next one. The last one. Later.